Outstanding. Well, thank you. My name is Chen. I'm the CEO of Geoteaming, and you are here now in virtual team building. So in this session, you're going to learn how to maximize your team building. And if you're having challenges in living in Corona land, well, welcome. We're here to make it suck just a little bit less. I have been doing team building now for 23 years. I'm the author of this book, 50 digital team building games. I appreciate it if you did get a copy. And if you do have a copy, thank you. So more importantly is not about this, it's about this. Why are you here? Well, I took all the words that you guys sent me for the 20 plus people who registered, and I put them into a word cloud. It looks like virtual online team building activities is the things that you're looking for, as well as increased bonding, interested meetings, and WFH. At least you didn't say WTF. I mean, WTH, I mean, you know what I mean. Anyway, so why are you here? So I'm going to share just a few things about why this team building works. So I give you a little reason why this session is going to be better than if I just talk to you for 60 minutes, right? You guys are actually going to be involved. So this is around experiential education, and it's been research was done by my mentor, Dr. Simon Priest, who's written actually over 25 books over the course of his lifetime, and really mentored and schooled me in the things that you're about to experience. Number one, I'm going to just show you why it works and why it works better than the classroom. And I'm going to say this complicated sentence called self-facilitating teams produce the greatest ROI. And you can say bingo, right, for all the keywords that I put in there. But second of all, I'm going to describe what that really means. First off, experiential education works. So what this is, this black line here, if you follow my mouse, is a team development index. And this says, as a team performs higher, they all take this test, and it's created into this index that says as the number gets higher, the team is performing better in terms of communication, trust, and collaboration, and so forth. And this sign here says the time to do a complex team task, these are similar but not the same task, goes down. It says, so as my team development goes up, means that the time for me to, as a team to complete a task goes down. And if you're the manager of a team, you're already paying the salaries, assuming you haven't furloughed everybody. And so your job is to get the most out of the team that you have going now. And one of the ways to get more time is to spend less time on stuff that's not valuable or you already know how to do that faster, and open up the time for the creativity and the space that you really need. So that's the first part, is that this works. Now, experiential team building here goes like this. Now, if you did nothing and did not invest the 60 minutes, well, your team development index will stay down here. Again, if I talked to you for 60 minutes and did not interact with you, you would get a bump of maybe 10 points for today. And have you ever taken a class, right, Jimmy? I see you. Have you ever taken a class and then got really jacked up about it, and then took the book or binder? Remember when we used to get binders for classes, and then you stuck it on a shelf and you didn't do anything with it? If you did that, raise your hand. Jimmy did, Greg did, Linda, she's shaking her head at least. Georgina, Georgina's not feeling well, so her camera's off, but I know that she's saying yes, she's just doing this. Okay, great. So the last one is this sentence. So all of you here, I hope to manage teams, and this is the holy grail of team building that even after I tell people, I used to sell programs, right? Remember when we used to do team building and we used to like go face to face and actually touch each other during those team building events? Well, I used to sell people follow-up for it, and this self-facilitation. They would pay for it and then not ever do it. They wouldn't schedule it. And this is the greatest, the research says this is the way to do it. And it says this, self-facilitating teams produce the greatest ROI. And what I mean by that is this, okay, this team did nothing, we knew that. These three teams did team building. This team did team building and did nothing afterwards. And so let me just tell you, team building is like software. And what I mean by that is you have to constantly update it or you go back to zero, okay? And so, and by the way, your team now has had the biggest disruption to date, right? They need a serious upgrade. If it was the Matrix and you could just shove like how to be a virtual team in their head, you would do it, but it's not that easy. The next part is to do follow-up, which is, we, after a day-long team building event, we spend an hour or two every week or two or once a month afterwards, and you can retain 80% of the gains. But if you learn this last piece, which I'll show you a little bit of, which is called self-facilitating, which is really, all you do is you spend time asking what, so what, and now what after your team meeting or team activity. You can not only regain the gains from a team building, a professionally designed team building event, you can meet and exceed this team. I see Jimmy's got some basketball back there, and one of my great friends he said this. He said, you don't need to do something 100% better. You just need to do 100 things 1% better to be a great team. And this is a guy who led the Sonics as well as the Thunder to be one of the top customer service teams and if you didn't remember when we used to go to NBA games? It takes like 400 to 500 volunteers, people who aren't paid, right, to have that kind of result. And so he was able to win gold medal. Even Commissioner Stern, when he was the commissioner, said he had the gold level standard of customer service. So anyways, this is my solution to virtual team building, and it comes in an acronym that I hope that you remember by the end of this. And so it's kind of how I felt because, to be honest, I'm a face-to-face team builder. I've done, actually, though I have been doing virtual team building for 20 years, but I had 10 events rescheduled, right? And it's a lot of revenue that I don't have anymore. And so I basically said this is how I feel. The solution is called GRR. You can say it with me, you're on mute, GRR, right? And so the first G stands for this, goals, right? Your team, if you want them to perform, has to align to the same goals. And that sounds easy, but number one, the goals you probably had pre-corona are not the goals that you have now. And number two, it's so easy in virtual land that you think you're on the same goal, but everybody's doing something else, right? And so it's a key time to really align your goals and make sure. If you don't have this, forget about the other ones. But the next R is for this. Oh, sorry about this. In communication, it turns out that only 5.9% of the companies communicate their goals daily. Hey, you want to be in the top 6% of the world of this research, send one email a day, and it tells your team what your goals are. You might even a little section and say, here's the progress we made on those goals, right? And eventually you can say, oh my God, we finished this goal and here on to the next one. But you could be in the top 6% of the world by sending one email a day. Okay, hopefully that made your whole call. All right, next one. Oh, here's the other part too. Here's your other challenges that you have. Work from home is mandated, and now you're having to deal with this pie chart of Zoom meeting attention span, right? Seriously, I've seen all of these now personally. Removal of cat, removal of kids. I mean, why didn't I take a shower? And you're checking out my place. You're like, oh, what's my house look like, right? So I'm like looking at Lydia's curtain. I like Linda's curtains, right? Those curtains are awesome. Anyway, so this is the challenges that you have as a virtual team builder. The next one is that you need rules. We all know the rules for face-to-face. We all know how to go into a meeting, right? Have sidebar conversations, how to act in a meeting. But now here, and what I affectionately call Corona Land is the rules are all different. And if you don't teach your team the rules, right, they have no idea what to do. And the best part is now, it doesn't matter what level you are in a company, this is your opportunity. If you want to become a leader in your company, all you have to do is help people establish what the virtual rules are, and you can be seen as a leader of your company. So here it is. And this is the challenge. Without these rules, 39% of surveyed employees believe that their people in their own organization don't collaborate enough. And right now, the barrier to that is not having the same rules. The next R is for rhythm. And teams have rhythms, right? Again, Jimmy's got basketball here. You know when a team is out of rhythm, right? And they throw the ball and they're not there, right? They go for a rebound, they're there and they drop it and they give it back to the other team. And so what you're looking for is, again, we've gone back to the same disruption. Teams have had the greatest disruption of their work patterns of their life, and they are looking for certainty, and they're looking for it from you, their manager. If you do not establish this team rhythm, I'm going to give you a clear example about how you will not achieve your goals. So must have rhythm. 97% of employees and executives believe that the lack of alignment within a team impacts the outcome of a task or a project. And if you don't have that rhythm, you would see all those people bumping into each other and they literally impact the outcome of that task. Last but not least, the last R is for results. You want to look for your team to make results, and you want to look for them, you want to celebrate them so they have more. You know, when a team has the same goals, right? This team has the same rules. This team has rhythm. And let me just tell you why I put this on here. I'm a huge car fan. I own a Porsche Boxster, and I love watching F1, right, on Netflix. And this is what happens when you have those three things. They're able to service the car, 4 tires, gas, and lots of other things you can't see in less than 2 seconds. This is what I want for your team. I want to see your team produce this kind of results in whatever business that you're in, okay? So I'm going to assume that the goal for this meeting is for you to host a productive team meeting and establish the best team practices online. So the first thing I'm going to teach you is something called Go Ahead Color. So go ahead callers to me is like air traffic control for Zoom, which is like if you had 20 people and you all trying to talk to each other, it's a mess. I love, somebody told me a story. They had their dysfunctional family, had 25 people call in, and the dysfunction was on top of the virtual dysfunction, and like everybody was talking at the same time and nobody understood anything. So this, I'm going to establish some easy online rules, and I call this go ahead caller because I had dreams in the past of being a radio DJ. So if Greg called in, he would say, hey, this is Greg from Indiana, and I'd say, hey, go ahead, Greg. And so this is why I call this go ahead caller. So let's establish some on-sign rules. The rules are very easy. If you're visual, you want to raise your hand. If you're not, you can chat me, or you can unmute and say your name. So Georgina, who is still here, thank you. If you'd like to, you can chat your introduction that I'm going to ask for in the chat window, and I'll read it for you. So I'll acknowledge you. If two or more of you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge each of you and establish some kind of order, and then we'll figure out how to go ahead from there. So, let me just give you the last example. We're going to have your name, where you called in from, and give me an example of a team challenge. So mine is, hey, I'm John Chen. I'm from Seattle, Washington. And my team challenge is I have to teach 4 of you how to lead virtual teams in under 60 minutes. Okay, so let's stop share. And here we are. Okay, great. So let's figure out who would like to introduce yourself first. Oh, look, all at the same time. That's great. So I'm going to go Greg, Linda, and then Jimmy, and hopefully Georgina is typing right now. So Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, you able to hear me, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, except Greg, you're on mute.
Yeah.
I cannot hear you.
I heard
Linda,
Greg.
you can hear me?
I can hear him.
Jimmy, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, John, I don't know why.
Oh, sorry, my speaker was down. Oh, wait, so hold on. Greg, you're gonna love this. I just did this myself, but most of the time I have to give you this, right? This is my new sign. Okay, sorry about that, my speaker is down. So go ahead, Greg.
All right, so I'm Greg Miller. I'm calling in from the northern suburbs of Chicago. And my team challenge, when the circumstances aren't happening that happen right now, I do a whole lot of leadership development training, typically face-to-face in classrooms. And so working with my team on switching everything to virtual, and thus the interest in also some potential team development, team building learnings that I might gain from this to weave into some of the work that we're doing virtually now. Excellent.
And Greg, where did you say you're calling in from? I'm sorry.
Northern suburbs of Chicago.
Chicago. Windy City, and Greg, I hate to say it, but I heard that Chicago's on the hot list as one of the fastest growing cities right now, right?
You're talking about the Corona hot list?
Oh, let's just all agree to call it the C word on this call. How about
okay, that? Yeah. Yes, yeah. The state overall was on the early end of some of the social distancing, but being a large urban center, yes, we're having our issues.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Let's go to Linda.
Hi, so I'm Linda Hartel, and I'm from Ohio, at Ohio State, actually. And so my challenge is I run an academic library there on campus, and trying to get lots of introverts to get interested in participating and using Zoom and WebEx and things for our meetings now. So it's going better than I thought, but still just looking for some new ideas.
Give me an example of going better than you thought, please, because that's a good sign.
Well, so we decided it would be good if we started each of our, so whether it's a staff, like a larger staff meeting, or like anytime we have more than 15 or so at a time, we've been doing sort of an icebreaker at the beginning to get everybody engaged. And we've been doing topics that tie to the C word. So like one of them was, just to start off with, what are you guys binge watching? Because pretty much everybody's doing that. Everybody could relate to that.
Tiger King, I know, Tiger King.
Tiger King kept coming up. Yes, oh Tiger God. King was the winner. And then another one was, what are you doing for exercise or to get out of the house during the day and get away from your new office desk? And so we were trying to do that. So that seemed to get everybody on sort of an even playing field and engaged. And then we went from there for the meetings, but that got everybody at least interested and paying attention. So it's kind of fun.
Linda, how did you have the intuition or figure out to do this?
I don't know. It just sort of came to us. So now it's kind of a pattern. I'm almost afraid now if I don't start off with something like that, that they're going to be disappointed because that's what they think every meeting is going to start with.
Linda, no, this is really key. This is the rhythm that I'm telling you about. And this is so great. I'm telling you, you did it naturally, which is even better, right? Even better. Everything that is authentic is even better. I'm just going to tell you some of the science behind it, right? Which is you're helping your team build a rhythm. They're expecting that. And the stability of that, I mean, there's two things you do. One is you check in with everybody, right?
Yeah,
and make sure they're there, make sure their audio and all their tech stuff is working, but you're also there, they're emotionally there. And now they're expecting this. Us humans, we love patterns, right? And so if you don't do it, you break this pattern, you can easily break the rhythm or the teamwork of this group. And so I would just tell you to keep doing it, and I'll show you why, okay?
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I'm just complimenting you. The fact that you figured it out naturally is awesome. Let's go to Jimmy.
At least one thing, little thing.
Jimmy, how you doing?
Good. I'm Jimmy Galiitis. I'm from the western suburbs of Seattle. And my challenge is I am a corporate entertainer from our company. So my entire livelihood is based on being in front of people. And I do games. And so I am trying to develop a weekly pub trivia where I invite people from all over to come in and play, and as a way to connect. So it's sort of trying to, I'm not getting revenue from it, but trying to stay relevant in this time.
Relevancy is right on. Revenue is difficult.
Right.
But if you can get something and develop something of value, let me just tell you that from doing this, I don't charge for this, to be honest, people, right? I'm here of my own volition. But Jimmy, I got 2 sets where I MC. I have MC'd happy hours for people, and they get why I do it, right? One is I'm doing this air traffic control. Everyone feels valued. I make it fun, right? And it connected them, right? It's a group that has not yet connected, and it just did benefits. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Keep experimenting. All I can tell you, you've read it in books, but I'm going to retell you, fail faster, right? Yeah. Suck now, suck more, and you'll figure it out. And then you'll suck less, and then people actually might like you, which they already like you, Jimmy. Don't get me wrong. Okay, cool. I'm so happy. One of my friends is here. Nicole Donnelly from Canada is here. Nicole, what's going on?
Hey, John. Nice to see you here. I have a marketing company, and I'm in Vancouver, BC. My business is based in Vegas, and it's been kind of interesting. Like, when my team's been virtual for 10 years, and so, like, one of the things that we did was made these fun backgrounds. So we've been hosting Zooms for people, so that they, like, we have different marketing experts, because I know a lot of other people with marketing companies, and so we are hosting Zooms every Wednesday for business owners, and having marketing experts there to tell you, like, what to start, stop, and continue. So I like the idea of rhythm, John, because that's what we were trying to establish in the beginning, and then have a Q&A so that people can get the support that they need. And so my whole team is there, and we have 0 projects right now. And yeah, and I have all these people who want us to do work, and we've done proposals, but no one's starting anything. And the people who were with us stopped. So we're just doing our Zooms, you know, on Wednesdays at 11. And if people show up, that's fine. And it's not paid. And we're connecting people with resources, like different resources. And then I'm starting my own supplement line. And so before lockdown, I had started it. And now it's a really good time because everybody's online connecting.
Cool. Nicole, too, which if you can see here, I gave her her title. She's an ex-pro snowboarder who can stomp some sick tricks, people. And Nicole and I have actually leg wrestled each other, and I lost. I'm going to flat out admit that I lost to the Nicole Donnelly. We're also past members of something called Entrepreneurs Organization. So
Yeah.
Those, if you want information, just hit us up in the chat and we'll chat it away to you. I'm going to read Georgina's. Thank you so much, Georgina, called in from Ashford, UK. Oh my gosh, we got the Britain, the Great Britain.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Your challenge is how to provide motivation behind goals in virtual meetings. I'm working on a 24-hour think-a-thon project with a group of 4 people. Oh, this is really cool. And we have a unique opportunity to influence policies to achieve an inclusive digital society. So it is quite a challenge. And I saw the link to her thing and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen this before. I'm going to enter. So you might have brought in a ringer, Georgina, but thank you so much for that. I appreciate the challenge. Let's welcome to the stage, Robert Ferguson. Robert Ferguson is based in Dallas, Texas, and then he's going to share some insights, but not too long, like a minute or two, Robert, of actually running a pub night that I attended last night. Robert, to you.
Yeah, we just did our first trivia night last night. So I'd be happy to connect with you, Jimmy, to talk about what worked, what didn't work, and some things I learned very quickly through that. Overall, it went very, very well. The main thing was I tried to make it pretty challenging, and I think I went a little bit too far because the questions were pretty difficult for most people. And so there was a little bit of frustration with that. So one of the recommendations, which I thought was a great idea, and this was actually from John, was to start with easier questions so that people can get a rhythm of like success, and then make it harder and harder as it goes. And that'll weed it down to the people that are actually better at that, at the trivia. And I did 3 rounds of 10 questions. And I scattered them in categories, as well as some of them were multiple choice, some weren't. And the other recommendation was maybe make the first 2 rounds all multiple choice, and then make round 3 all open questions and make that the hard round, to kind of build it up. So, but I had Spotify playing in the background the whole time. We did it using PowerPoint for the questions and answers. And then I did a Survey Monkey, so people had a second device to answer the questions and whatnot on Survey Monkey, which, again, my mom participated, who is not technically savvy, and so it took a little hand holding to get her, even with a practice round the day before. I still had to spend a lot of time with her. I had to email her the survey link so she didn't have to go to the Facebook event page to get that and things like that. But I also did create Facebook event pages and things because I'm just trying to drive traffic for launching my company that I'm launching in a couple months. That has nothing to do with trivia nights, but again, is just something fun to do down to get some audience and just to connect with people and all of that. So
right.
Cool. Bobby, if you want to hang out, I'll help. You can help facilitate this group, but if I know you got to go, you can jump out.
Good. Yeah, I can hang on.
Okay, cool. So you're going to answer. You want to watch the dynamics of the initiative I'm going to give here in a little bit, and I'm going to let you lead the questions because that's what we do here in Kuroda Land, is to help people grow. Okay, so moving right along. So I think we got a chance to meet everybody, and now we're going to move on to this. Right on time and right on track. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to teach you is what's called the back channel, right? So as you want to keep people, right, one of the things in virtual team building is to keep everyone engaged, right? I am not teaching you how to run a 500-person webinar. I'm teaching you about how to run a team meeting and keep everyone engaged, as opposed to me, I'm off reading my email. Oh, my dog is here, right? My child is here. So right here, you want to stay with me. So in the back channel, you want to teach people that the chat window is there. Now, we already have some chat with some people. Thank you, Georgina. But let's go ahead and what we're going to do is do some chat networking, right? So in the back channel is that you're going to type your LinkedIn profile. So I'm linkedin.com/in/CEO John Chen, and bam. So if you can chat your LinkedIn profile or your website or your email address, something you feel okay sharing. I just want to make sure, if you don't have any of those, just type a letter just so I know that your chat window is working, that it's open, and that you located it. So let's go through and see. Greg has done it. Nicole has done it. Craig. Jimmy has done it. Linda, where's Linda? Come on, Linda, you can find the chat window. I know you can do it. Nicole can do it, and Robert is probably here. And there's Linda. I keep wanting to call you Lydia for some reason, but you're Linda.
That's right.
Okay. And Georgina, you got it. Okay, good. You did it too. Okay, great. Okay, we got everybody in. So what you want to do with this, right, with the chat, is that you want to show them the chat window. And you want to encourage them to use it when others are speaking. So for instance, if I'm speaking, right, but you're having a thought, you're one of those extroverts and you got to think out loud. Well, instead of just interrupting the mic all the time, just hit it up in the chat window. In all the webinars that I go to, I start hitting up the chat window and I actually look and I see, are people actually paying attention? And quite often, if there's other people, I find the people I really want to meet. sometimes it's not the speaker, it's like somebody else in another state who's having the same challenge that I am, and I'm like, oh, I want to meet you. So the other part here is that it can also help you, the introverts in the group. So the introverts are being bombarded. They have all this information. They have visual, right? You've got microphone, you've got videos, people are sharing screens, and introverts though, quite often, they have the right answer. After they process all this information, and this is my history in team building events, they come around and they see the insight and they're like, oh my God, we need to do this. And so the chat window is a way for an introvert to get it out because they can, see it and see it in the chat room and see stuff happening there. So again, it can help introverts and extroverts. You can really do a lot of creativity. And I can tell you, if I don't hit the chat window during a webinar, I just like, if the content's not engaging, boo, I'm off. But if I see you in the chat window, I can hit this. And this is why I'm calling out people's names too, right? Which is like, if I haven't seen anything or heard anything from Nicole, I'm like, oh, Nicole, can you just chat me something? Or, that's how you know I have engagement, is because I'm paying attention and I'm looking through that. So now we figured out the chat works. Now, Robert is not participating and neither am I. So I'm going to give you your first team assignment. Your first team assignment is this. You have to chat A to Z one letter at a time. You cannot chat twice. So Jimmy, with his type A personality, can't go A, B, C, D, F, G, H, and try and hit return, okay? No, one letter at a time, right? After Jimmy goes, right? Jimmy can't go again. So Nicole or Lydia or our other friend here, oh, my window's not big enough. Hold on, I gotta expand my window one more time. Usually I have this set up. There we go. So Georgina, right? Or Greg, somebody else has to go. So you have to restart if you missed a letter. Oh yeah, see, look at you guys. You guys are already going. So I'm gonna finish the rules here. So yeah, I see 2Ds. You gotta restart if you missed a letter, repeated a letter. So you can see here that you have to restart. While you're chatting A to Z, you can't talk, but if you missed a letter, you can talk until someone chats A to Z. I'm not gonna ask if there's any questions because you guys are clearly the type A group of the day. So let's go. Greg said A and Nicole said D. That means you have to restart, just in case you were wondering. Robert is watching acutely because he's going to have to debrief this and try and figure out what's the team lesson. Why did we do this, said Michael Grigg. Georgina chatted A.
And just to repeat that instruction too, is that when you do mess up and you have to start over, you can talk in between. So before you start, but as soon as somebody puts an A, you have to stop talking and continue on until you get A through Z or mess up.
Oh, I just been typing like crazy.
Okay, we're on Georgina A, Greg B, and Nicole D. Okay.
All right, so how about a sequence of, if we just establish a pattern. So we have to start over now, right? Since we've missed C and E.
Oh. Yeah, since we don't have an E. So we start over. I can go.
Is it aggregate A to Z or individual A to Z?
Can you repeat the question?
I don't know.
Is it aggregate A to Z or individual A to Z?
Can you repeat the question like I'm a 4-year-old?
Like, do I have to do A to Z just me, or is it like me A, you B, Greg C, Linda D, Jimmy E, Robert F?
Thank you for the. Well, no, remember, Robert is not chatting, and neither am I.
Okay. But the idea, is that how it's supposed to go?
So we should all pick a sequence, like who wants to go first?
Yeah.
A first, second, third, fourth, first, second, third, fourth, first, second, third, fourth.
Sure. How about alphabetical with first names?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that would be Georgina, then Greg, then Jimmy, then Linda, then Nicole, and then back to Georgina.
All right. So I'm third.
So then we have 5 because
Remember,
Georgina.
not talking.
Oh.
There is no talking between A to Z. Georgina said A, Greg said B, Jimmy said C.
right, I put in an X so we can start talking again. So I imagine if we do alphabetical, that it would be Georgina first, then Greg, then Jimmy, then Linda, then Nicole, and then back to Georgina. Is everybody good?
Linda.
Yep.
All right, so Georgina starts.
Reminder, no talking. Greg, Georgina A, Greg B.
Are we starting over? I don't.
I know.
Wait, you got to chat another letter here. Greg can do it.
I
Wait,
hit the
hold
letter.
on. Someone's got to chat a letter out of order or repeat.
All right, so we're out of order.
Go ahead, Greg. What happened?
So Jimmy, I think it was your turn to put in a C at that point.
Yeah, it was odd because I did hit a C.
Oh, and it just didn't show up in the chat.
Oh,
mine
I
keeps-
have it.
Mine
I have
keeps
it
moving
going
to
to Linda
private.
privately.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's why.
Who are you chatting with, Jimmy?
I was secretly chatting with Linda.
Yeah, mine kept coming up private, and I
Yeah,
would switch
so-
it to everyone,
Yeah.
and it would move back to
On Zoom land, when someone private chats you, it automatically sets it to private chat you back. So everyone's
Okay.
sitting here going, Jimmy.
No, I did
And
it
he's going, I did
And I
it.
could see it. I thought it was
So-
fine.
because
So what
I
we
show
learned
after
is,
Greg each time. So I was just looking for Greg's name.
yeah,
It didn't come up, and I was like, "Well, I better just go with C."
All right, so we've learned we need to make sure it's on the everyone tab, and we still have the alphabetical order. And Georgina started with A, so I'm going to go.
Okay, when you're ready, go. Georgina A, Greg B. Jimmy C. Linda D. Nicole E. Georgina F. Greg G. Jimmy H. Sorry. Sorry. Shh, shh, shh. I'm the only one who can talk. Linda I, Nicole J, Georgina K, Greg L, Jimmy M, Linda N, Nicole O, Georgina P, Greg Q, Jimmy R, Linda S, T, U, X, Jimmy X,
I think we missed him. No.
We missed a W.
Oh, you did. Oh my God, people. Who was that? That was Greg. It was you, Greg. No, it was after Greg.
It was me.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, okay. You guys can talk. What do you guys want to say?
Oops.
Man.
Oops. I was kind of going back through the alphabet again.
I was totally going back to the alphabet. Then I got anxious because it was taking too long, so I just typed in X.
Okay.
Ay.
What are you guys gonna do?
The third graders would do better than us.
Yeah, they probably would.
That's why I had Nicole restate her question in this form of a fourth grader, because that's about where we're at in Corona land. Okay, here we go. Georgina A, Greg B, Jimmy C, the rest of you hush. Linda D, Georgina, Nicole E, Georgina F, Greg G, Jimmy H, Linda I, Nicole J, Georgina JK, yeah, Georgina K, Greg L, Jimmy M, Linda N, Nicole O,
Anyone else singing the song in their head?
Georgina P, Greg Q, Jimmy R, Linda S, Nicole T, Georgina U, Greg V, Jimmy W, Linda X, Nicole Y, Georgina Z.
Holy cow.
So let me just give you the reminder too. I actually forgot to give you this reminder, but it's playing doctor and patient, right? Patient is being the person inside this team building event, but doctor is looking at what you're experiencing, your own emotions, and what was happening in the team dynamic. Now, Robert's going to ask 3 questions when he comes back on camera. And he's going to ask these 3 questions, trying to gain, why did we do this? Robert, are you there? Or are you having to get more food? Okay, well, I'm going to have to go to the first question since he had to go here. What happened, people? Can you remember some of the key moments about what happened during this team building initiative? Anybody? Just raise your hand. And Georgina, you can chat me your answers. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I had to sing the song as we were going, because when I was just looking at the letters come, I was then trying to catch up to where I might fall. And then, like I said before, I got anxious, and that's when I just put in the X, because like, oh, where are we? Which is silly that I don't know like where every letter falls just automatically, but it's the rhythm of the alphabet where I know, oh, this is the letter that comes. So on the third one, I was actually singing it as the number or the letters came up, and then I could a lot quicker type in what my letter was supposed to be.
See, and now you know why Jimmy is an entertainer and not a librarian.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to Robert. Robert's gonna ask 2 more questions.
So we just did the first question of what happened.
Yeah.
And what did you learn?
So again, that's what and so what. So what did you learn from this experience? Anybody?
I learned that private messaging, you have to be careful. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. Either you're sending something to everyone that might be meant for someone. You just have to really watch out who you're sending your message to.
So, Robert, I'll help with a little bit here too. Private messaging is like the 50 things happening on your screen right now. You could be getting distracted from lots of different areas as a virtual team, and it affects your team performance. Robert, do you have any other insights before you ask the third question?
Yeah, you know, it's there's so much. I participated in this once before, but it's so interesting watching it all. And watching, I learned a lot about this team dynamic, not only the 5 of you, but also me and John, and learned a little bit about myself and him also in how we interacted in this. So this is great. So, but I can get into specifics later. But what are you going to do differently out of this exercise?
Are you asking us?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here, I'll help restate a little bit. So the debrief, remember I talked about self debrief. Oh geez, I can't even remember the name. You know what I'm talking about. It's that fancy word I used a long time ago that's past my 4th grade education. Self-facilitating teams just ask these questions: what, so what, and now what? And so it's coming back to this. So now that you've had this experience, what will each of you do different back with your team? So we're just looking for a few examples here. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, one of the things that for me that made a difference is we were just, I think, typing at the beginning, and Robert, you came back in with the reminder of the rule that we could talk in between.
Which
And
I wasn't supposed to do, by the way.
Oh, well, I hadn't
That's my
heard
type A
that.
personality jumping in.
I hadn't heard that, which is also my personality when John probably said that earlier. So it just re-clarified, particularly in the virtual environment, probably the importance of maybe repetition and going back to your rules and rhythm piece, John, that you introduced earlier, just making sure we're on the same page of what rules we're operating under before we jump into a task.
Yeah, what's the last time you've been a participant like this versus leading it, and the
Yeah, right.
experience of participating?
Greg, you have to look, right? As an educator, I gave it to you visually, I gave it to you auditorially, I almost gave it kinesthetically, and you still went,
right? My brain was already on something else. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, clearly it was there as a group too, because you guys are like, I'm halfway through the instructions, you're like A, B, C, D, I got this, B. Okay, right, Nicole? So yeah, what's your insight?
Oh, I was just going to say it was really fun to do. So while we did learn, how the chat works, if people don't know, it was something fun. And I was thinking about like the Zooms that I've been on and done. It's been either like all business or a fun happy hour, and there hasn't been the combination. And so it's a little like fun thing to bring to just a normal Zoom. So I like that.
Thank you, Nicole. And the key here is the fun, right, is a secret to get people to learn new stuff, right? I always talk about stealth learning. What skill am I teaching somebody, right, without having to do it? And here's the other piece too. I mean, Robert, thank you for being here. And Robert, right, this is what you learn as a facilitator, is you already have the answer. But that's not what's important. The important is to set up a scenario where each of you get the answer. And so when I private chatted Robert and then had to set it to everyone so I could do it again, is that I chatted to him and I don't give that hint about the visual, that auditory piece till 4 or 5 minutes. And the reason why is I want you guys to fail. A, B, B, A, B, B, A. I just want you to see it. And I also want to see, does somebody emerge as a leader, right? There's only 2 people. There's an amazing woman from Detroit. Before they even started, she just like, get out of the way, right? She goes, we need a system. And she intuitively did that. Right? And she just runs a company that does like dinner parties, but she is a leader. She goes, I know we need a system. And she led the group. She's probably 1 out of 15. Right? And that's what I'm saying. She's a 10%er or less. She's a 5%er. That's what each of you need to do. When you have this experience and you see a chaotic online meeting, step in and just say, and do it the nice Northwest way. Would you like my help in this meeting? Right? And so, yeah, so those are the kind of pieces that, and that's what this experience can do, is that, and I love actually, Nicole, that you've helped add this insight. It's fun, but there is a business side to this. And as a group, you guys, if you stayed together and worked together every day, would realize every time, like, we don't have a system. We just need to stop, right? We're just spinning our wheels. Let's stop. Let's make a system and then get on with the work. Because that's actually what we all care and want to do. Go ahead, Robert.
It was one of the more interesting insights I saw also was actually about you, John, because Greg had stepped up, was the first one to step up and say, hey, let's think about how we do this, right? But since he did that, John then, every time that you all stopped, he would say, okay, Greg, now what do you think? Because Greg was the one that stepped up. But as the facilitator, he could have also said, well, Greg's already stepped up. Let me just either let's see who else steps up or whatever else, or he could have called on somebody and said, right? But his default as the facilitator also is like, hey, someone's already stepped up. Let me just continue to feed that.
Yeah.
And I think we all do that. I can see where I do that with my team. I know Melanie is always going to have an opinion, so I always ask her first because she's the most opinionated person on my team. But that may not be the right thing. I maybe should not even ask anybody and let's see who steps up, or call on somebody who I rarely hear from.
So the key here too, and I'm going to close up here in just a second so we can stay on time, but I do invite you to stay afterwards. If you have further Q&A past the 1 o'clock mark, I am here, and probably Robert and I will hang out and answer any questions. But Greg was also the first to type X. Remember when I told you to fail faster? Greg had no fear. It's very few people, Greg. I think you're 1 of 15, maybe 2 of 15, to hit X and like purposely open up the mic so that we can have this capability. He failed, right? He purposely failed so that the team could work faster. And there, again, that's a trait you also have to know, that sometimes you got to break something to fix something. So let me try and finish up this last piece here, which is amazing. And so we can end on time. For those who need to go, yeah, this is just chapter A to Z. This is actually in my book, and this is the reason why I do it. It demonstrates this: a team without rhythm will bump into each other. You will rework, do work, like not do work, right? Chat and think you're doing work and nobody can see it, right? That's a team without rhythm. But a team with rhythm can do amazing stuff like this. The way that your team can have this rhythm is to do these very simple things. Start and end each meeting the same, right? And so Linda, this is what I'm telling you. You've discovered this intuitively. Do it. Keep doing it. Start and end each meeting in relatively the same way. This is the stability and certainty that people are looking for, and that's why they're continue looking for it. It's helping your team. The next one is find a rhythm in the middle for sharing and solving information. So whether it's you're doing something fun like this, or you're just getting down to the work, whatever it is, find a rhythm, like always do this, or look for presenters who are strong and start them out first, because they are going to learn from your other presenters who might be a little weaker, but they're going to learn going, oh, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take this from this person and that. The next is bring your culture online. So if there's something that you always do in your company, right? If you always say like right on, or if you have a mascot or something, bring it online. Because again, that culture is something strong with your organization. And by bringing it online brings that certainty and safety that used to be in the past. And if you don't have the culture to figure out that it doesn't fit online, just make it, right? Make it fail faster, make new culture, and look for what works. Because, you know, I got a chance to go to Zappos. Remember when we used to go to like Las Vegas and we could actually meet people? And so I went to Zappos, and those are the kings of culture. They have so many cool things that they develop that are unique to them, right? You have this permission now to do that. So here's another secret that you probably might have hypothesized. I use a participation map. This is everybody who logged in for this class. Right? This is every participation, so I know what's happening here. And this is how you get engagement. I will know if somebody is not contributing. Let me just give massive props to Georgina. She said, it's good to discuss problems that arise, because then we can make resolutions such as tech difficulties like fixing chat and other things. Georgina is, I feel like, as a team member, even though she's having her own health challenge right now, she's a full team member because she's shown up here on chat. So I don't know that, you know, I only see a black box, but I know she's here, and she was a valuable team member. She contributed to the solution of your problem. This participation map is something that I create all the time. I started doing this 20 years ago to run telecons, and it helps me mark. If you can't do what I'm doing, which is manage 50 things at once, print out a piece of paper. Write the people's name as they log in and make little check marks next to them as they contribute. And that will give you the insight. Greg will love this, right? Greg, you know, you've had classes where you're like Diane, Bueller, Diane.
Yeah.
Could you say something? And I also, Greg, I institute a rule called PASS, which is, let's say Diane's a severe introvert and she just doesn't want to contribute. I'm going to ask her, and I said, here's the rule in my class. This is my culture. You can say, if I call on you and you have nothing to add, you can just say pass. But it means that you know that I acknowledge you and you had a chance to talk, and that you took that opportunity and you said pass. And it's okay. Sometimes it's helpful for a group to move fast. All right, participation map. So in the end, you guys get results. Here's the results. You guys finished A to Z in 1 minute and 11 seconds.
World record.
Let's see. I actually have to open another document. I highly believe your top 5. The fastest time to date has been 50 seconds. I didn't normally have this open, so give me 1 second while I try and open this document. Here we go. I think this is it. 1 minute. You guys are second. You guys are the second fastest team that has ever done this. Okay. What I'm talking about is this. You guys can create results when you work together as a team. And by the God, I could have never predicted 1 minute and 11 in the middle, especially when Jimmy missed W. I was like, oh my God, right? but you guys did it, which is great. And so,
authentic failure.
Say again?
That was an authentic failure.
Oh yeah, fail faster. See, I'm telling you, Jimmy's getting the lessons here. Okay, your results will be successful online meetings, right? Somebody had said the greatest compliment I got. He goes, I feel more energized after 60 minutes of Zoom with you rather than less energized, right? So if you get that compliment, you have a great meeting. It's your ability to get work done under these really challenging conditions. And let me tell you, they're challenging from multiple sides, right? People are very close to mental breakdown if they haven't already exceeded it. And it's your job as a leader to help them, right? So that's it. This other part too, help and lead your company. I don't care what position you have. You can now become an online leader with this much disruption. This is a great place to step up, right? And you can develop new ways to help. Like Robert has helped his community. He took what I taught him. He's helped 2 communities come together who haven't talked for a long time. And all they can tell him is, thank you, Robert. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for giving me a place to have beverages without my children around. So anyways, those are the results that you have. So let's see how much retention we have. I told you in the beginning that this my solution is GRR. So what's the G stand for? Anybody?
Goals.
Goals. What's the next R?
Rules.
Rules. Greg, oh, brownie star for Greggy. Sorry, I just called you Greg. I don't even know you.
I'll take it.
Okay, what's the next R?
Rhythm.
Rhythm, said Linda. Oh, she's a Rhythm Nation, right? All right, last one is
Results.
results. Nicole is all about results. And look at this now. I have 100% retention, right? Well, look at this for this cool acronym in less than 60 minutes. Here we go. So I just want to tell you a story about results here that's personal in Seattle. We have a restaurant called Canlis. This is a 3-generation, right, 4-star restaurant. And on March 6th, remember March 6th? It seems like an eternity ago. Yeah, March 6th, they redesigned their entire business in a week. And my friend gave me insight. They sit at a dining room table and they figured out what to do. They said this, times are changing and so are we for now. We're shutting down our dining room and bringing the food out to you. Fine dining is not what Seattle needs right now. Instead, this is one idea for safely creating jobs for our employees while serving as much of our city as we can. Hey, we got this, Seattle. The Canlis family. This is what they did. They created a drive-through bagel shed in the morning. At lunch, they served burgers and veggie melt. And at night, you can order a home-cooked dinner and a bottle of wine delivered to your doorstep. They had me at bottle of wine, right? Here's the result. 10 days ago, this was the PR.
The National Weather Service has issued.
They had a line down Highway 99. They sold out of the bagel shed at 10:06 a.m. And now for the first time, I get to share the second part of the story. They had, Jimmy, what could have been the biggest oops of their lifetime. They sent out to over 300 customers, right? That you have to set your oven to 325. And somebody replied all, right? And said, for family party, given that this meal costs like $125 per person, I can't imagine being delivered anything with steaming hot, blah, 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 right? And so this is a reply all. And this guy, Matthew Kim, right, is one of the customers. And he got on Twitter and he saw this and he goes, I want to avert this disaster because Canlis is really doing something special. He goes, I was bracing for the inevitable, please remove you from your mail list. But somebody replied, hey, if you are dissatisfied with your order, can I suggest you donate your $125 per person fee to Feeding America? It's a national food bank. And they put the link here. This thing went viral. And all the customers here, including Canlis, who donated $500, raised $10,000 in one night. What a cool thing. This is the feeding our at least people here in America who need food banks at a time when they have no revenue. So this is what can happen as a result, right? So again, I'm John Chen with Geoteaming. You've just completed Virtual Team Building 2. Let me tell you that it gives you a couple things. Number one, if you got value out of this, please help others, right? Just share this link. It's the thing that I asked for you if you really got some value out of this. Also, you're going to get an invite to a Facebook group called Virtual Team Building, where all the members have gone at least through Virtual Team Building 1. And now you qualify for Virtual Team Building 2. and we just get on with the initiatives, right? I teach 15 initiatives in 90 minutes, and that's what people ask for, and that's what we want. It's amazing how fast you can go once I know everybody has the right level. So the last thing I'm going to show you is how I close many of my meetings. It's called the last word. And we're just going to ask each of you, what did you get today from your investment in an hour today? So thank you again for being here. Let me click my share. Oh, there we go. Who would like to go first? And Georgina, again, you can type yours in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I had fun. It was good. I was supposed to be at a Qigong and they didn't let me in the room, so I came over here. And I'm glad that I'm here.
The best part about Nicole is that she was on, we're transmitting to Facebook Live right now. She was in the chat room in Facebook Live. And let me tell you, Nicole, it's different being in this group rather than just watching it, right?
Yeah, it's way better being in the group than just watching it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole. Who else would like to go? Let's go to Greg and then Jimmy.
Yeah, I just I enjoyed it, and I got some insights that will probably lead to other ideas, right? The common plant a seed and see what grows from that. So I really appreciated the experience with all of you.
You're welcome, Greg. I'd love it if you share your innovations too. Like I said, I got a shot. You know, talk about like positive things in coronavirus. I have a contract sitting in my inbox right now to rewrite this book, and many things are going to come out of it. Robert actually has one. Robert's going to demonstrate now the accidental freeze. Ready, go. So he, in mid-sentence, will accidentally freeze when he's not really frozen, and I cried last night. He's so good at it. I can't do it. It's so good. He's so good. Okay. He's gonna get it. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna write in the book and give him credit for that.
It's an extension of the old when you wanted to pretend your phone was going out of service. You just be like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just think that anymore. Like, hello, you hear me? So rather than doing that, you just kind of do the yeah. And so it's just something that you can do along.
That is amazing.
Really
So good at it.
Wow.
I flinched, man. I'm just still flinching. I'm working on it. All right, let's go to
Wow. Wow.
It's just a great reminder that you learn more when you're having fun.
Oh, thank you so much, Jimmy. There's science behind that. You remember things when stuff is different and bizarre and crazy, and that's why I don't webinar. I just can't do it. Like, I'd rather talk to 6 people and meet you personally than talk to you and never really meet you. So thank you so much for that, Jimmy. And I'd rather it be fun. Like, this is the bright spot in my every single day. Every day I'm here 12 to 1. And that's my rhythm. I made a rhythm for myself, and it makes me get up and I look clean and I shower and I help people. And we've had, Jimmy, you know, the best part too, not only help people, like it's fun with people around the world. We've had Slovenia, Hungary, right? Australia, oh my God, it just blows my mind. And we are all having the same team challenge right now. They are all in lockdown too. So, okay, who else would like to go?
That's great. Yeah, I will.
Let's go to Linda.
So I just want to say, I can't even remember how I learned about this program that you're offering, where I saw it, but this is awesome. And I'll definitely be happy to share it with other people, but definitely the best group chat I've had meeting.
Linda, I'll remind you too, you put it on here. You found it through Library Journal, and Jennifer Clifton changed my life when I posted this. And she goes, people were asking libraries for resources. And I didn't know the libraryjournal.com website is like massive. Every librarian in the world apparently looks at this website.
Thousands.
And my class exploded when she put it on there. The best part too, Jennifer Clifton attended one of my classes, and I got to personally tell her that.
Oh, good.
So cool.
Good. Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah, that's a good thing.
So let me just help you out. I'm going to close with this. Georgina said, thanks, John. It was great fun. I'm taking a lot with me today with fun ideas and exciting activities to get the team motivated. Definitely need to find our rhythm with A to Z. So with that, I'm just going to teach you the last one, which is if you don't know sign language, this is applause. Well, let's give Georgina a round of applause for her comment. This is a shake your hands and pretty head. That's excellent. Thank you so much. This is Virtual Team Building 1 with me, John Chen, and you've been watching these amazing people build teams. If you want to get into this, go to geoteaming.com/virtual team building. We'll see you next time. Peace out.